Hello, hello. My name is Karen-Eileen Gordon, and I would like to talk to you about radical self-care for voiceover artists. Whee! For those of you who know me, hello again. For those of you who don't know me, hello, hello. Nice to meet you. I am in love with two very different worlds, seemingly different worlds, but they join very nicely together. One of them is the world of the performing arts, and the other is the world of the wellness arts. In the performing arts, I've been a working film, television, voiceover stage actor and a voiceover coach for many years. Some would say from the womb with the acting part of it. And in the wellness world, almost that long. I'm a Reiki master, a yoga instructor, a lifelong meditator, an energy reader. And I love to bring those things together, so much so that I've created 5 things that you can do right now today to boost your radical self-care as a voiceover artist. And I'm in the process of creating a deep dive course around this subject because I love the material so much. And I love helping myself and my fellow artists to thrive as they grow in their career and move forward in their life. And I also need to be reminded every day to do these things. So I love to teach them. Number 1, hydration. If you're not already doing this, I would love you to have a very tightly capped source of hydration around you when you're recording. It's my little flip top lid. Please hold for some hydration. Oh, that is so good. Tightly capped. You heard that little click, tightly capped. I want you to protect your beautiful electronics in which you have invested thousands of dollars. I want you to protect all your cords and the bits and pieces. Also, I'd like you to protect your brain. One of my favorite teachers, shout out to Sonia Choquette, you can Google her, she's wonderful, says and believes from her experience of both her life and with thousands of clients that 15 minutes of intense concentration will dehydrate you. And what happens when we're dehydrated is that our body contracts a little bit, our brain is a little less fast, we have less access to our brilliant ideas. So, beautiful hydration for yourself and your beautiful voiceover career. That is number 1. Number 2, breathing. Breathing is good. Now, as a voiceover artist, in my experience, in my personal journey, and as a coach, very often in the beginning, we stop breathing. We forget to breathe. We become so conscious of our breathing, we're afraid to breathe in the middle of fill in the blank, an audition, a paragraph. I want you to give yourself permission to breathe. And here's a really fun breathing tool. I want you to do something called heart-centered breathing. And what you're going to do is place your hand over your heart. Those of you who have been in any of my meditation classes may have learned this one from me. And you're going to imagine breathing in and out through your actual heart place. Now, the heart physiologically obviously does not breathe. However, there's some really nice science and research that suggests that when we imagine breathing in and out through our heart, there's a level of self-care and self-compassion that kicks in that doesn't kick in with regular, beautiful, measured breathing, which is also very helpful. So let's do 30 seconds of it right now, shall we? Some breathing. Please don't do this if you're driving. Please do this if you're seated comfortably somewhere. Okay, here we go. Place one hand over your heart. I invite you to close your eyes if you're able to do so. Here we go. Breathe in through your heart. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for a beat. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for a beat. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for a beat. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for a beat. Last round. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for a beat. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Deep breath in. Out with some sound. One more time. Deep breath in. Out with some sound. That was about 30 seconds. And not only does that teach you as a voiceover artist what it feels like to speak and live with full lungs rather than contracted lungs, which is what we do as a naughty habit, it teaches you that when you're out of breath to stop and breathe. It realigns your breathing habit both in the booth and in front of a mic, and as a human being out in your world. And it's a really funny thing. Breathing is like yawning in my experience with voiceover clients and students in my own work, meaning that if we're not breathing when we're speaking in our voiceover projects or auditions, the audience of one listening to us suddenly feels like they're holding their breath. So, for many reasons, including taking beautiful care of yourself, breathing is a wonderful radical self care tool. Beautiful. More hydration. Please hold. Back to number one. Back to one, please. Mmm, tasty. Number three, I like to call this comfort or economics, and this will radically boost your self care, your radical self care. Because a note here, the demands of a voiceover artiste, and by the way, as a certain human who we all know and love says, you are now CEO of VoiceOver You Incorporated. You are the head of your beautiful voiceover company and empire. And as such, it's important that all of your employees, you, be super comfortable and happy because you'll be more productive. You'll have access to better ideas. Your brain will be healthier and more expansive. You'll have more access to that teeny little inner voice that we all call intuition, which is right about 1,000,000,000,000% of the time. So here's what I mean by comfort and economics. This is just one way in. We could do a whole course just on comfort and ergonomics as a voiceover artist. How comfortable are you in your recording space? I'd like you to be super duper, mega awesome sauce in a smoothie comfortable. Here's one example. How comfortable are you when you're sitting? Do you need to lean to get to your mic? I would like you to consider what sort of setup you could have where you would not need to lean to get to your mic. Now, I'm not right on my mic tonight because I'm not recording, I'm speaking to you, but this is a floor stand with a boom arm that swings. And I found for myself that the desk stand, which I do travel with when the world is open, wasn't the mic that made me the most comfortable in my booth. In my booth, I wanted, because of the construction of my desk and the way my body is oriented, I wanted to be able to swing that sucker right here. And it usually would be higher, so I would be right here. When you are seated or standing in your booth, very comfortable, shoulders relaxed, neck relaxed, I want you to be able to look straight ahead and read your copy. I don't want you looking down to have to read, or up to have to read, or right, or left. Because what that does is it changes the orientation of not only your neck and your shoulders and your spine, it changes what happens to the 100 muscles that you are using to produce speech. 100 muscles. So even to say or ah, there's 100 muscles engaged. There's a lot of things going on. And long-term care of your whole body is non-negotiable as a voiceover artist. Can you get away with leaning or looking up and down for a 15-second audition? Yes, you can. Can you get away with leaning or looking right or left or up and down for a 3-hour documentary that you're getting paid really handsomely for? A 6-figure commercial campaign where you're recording 100 spots? No, you cannot. And as your beautiful radical self-care advisor, coach's goddess, I want you comfortable. So one thing you can do is sit comfortably standing, relax, and do a little check. Can you draw a straight line and read your beautiful copy? Are you comfy? Are you cozy? There's so many other things that go into being comfy and cozy in your booth, and we can talk about that. I wanted to give you that comfort ergonomics check today as number 3. Number 4, I'd like you to boost your calmness level. What? Calmness is very crucial to the radical self-care of you as a voiceover human. Now, on a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 is you might fall asleep, you're sort of a noodle, and 10 is you're so anxious watching this that you might have a panic attack. I won't take it personally. So 0 is noodle, 10 is panic attack. Where are you at the moment? Where is your number? And when you sit down to record, or even when you're preparing something, working on prep for an audition, making your choices, preparing an audiobook, whatever beautiful thing you're doing, I'd like you to check in on your calmness level. Very often, when we go into record, we're unconscious of our level of calmness. And I'd like that number to be very, very high for you because a high level of calm and relaxation, they tend to go together, does all the juicy things I mentioned previously with the breathing. They bring similar benefits. They allow the left and right side of your brain to talk to each other beautifully. When we're really stressed or anxious, those two things tend to go off into their own corners with their own cookie and blankets and talk to something else, not each other. We want them talking to each other because when that happens, you have access to your intuition more fully. You have access, to bigger, more beautiful, brighter ideas and instincts and choices with your voiceover palette. And it just feels better. In addition to being really, really good for your body, you have access to things that will help you be the most beautiful, bright, shining voiceover, unique snowflake artiste that you are. So there's so many beautiful calmness exercises. A lot of them do involve breathing. And I'm going to give you one that I like here. This is called a color exercise. And we can talk about the chakras another time. I'm a big fan of the chakras, but this one is basically when you sit down or stand in your booth, I want you to ask whatever part of yourself that will answer, what color would be most soothing and lovely for you today as you embark upon your voiceover work. You can also do this outside in your life anytime. Again, not when you're driving, please. So I'm going to ask myself, what color would most soothe me today? What do I need right now? I'm getting a purple. Not sure why. It doesn't have to make any sense. You can pick any color you want. Maybe it's pomegranate. Maybe it's eggplant. Maybe it's puce. Maybe it's seafoam green. Whatever color it is perfect. Colors have vibrations. Those vibrations have different frequencies. They all correspond to different things in the body, mind, emotions, and spirit. That's a whole class we could do if you want to, because all of that is applicable to your radical self-care as a voiceover artist. So for today, I'm going to choose purple. I invite you to choose a color. You're going to imagine a giant beam of that light coming in through the top of your head, swirling around your neck, face, tongue, throat, carrying out anything that feels anxious, uncomfortable, worrisome, anything you want to let go of, and soothing you. And then it'll split at your throat and come out down each arm, through each hand, down through your torso, splitting again at your legs, out through each foot into the earth. And you're just going to run that energy, meaning you're going to imagine that column continuing to flow from the top of your head, strong, beautiful light all the way through, out through your hands, out through your feet. And you're just going to release anything that doesn't serve you, either in your voiceover work or in your world, and let it be carried out by the light. So I invite you to do that. We're going to do about 15 to 20 seconds of it right now. So choose a color. And again, I'm doing purple. Choose the color that works for you. And different colors will work different days for different scenarios. The sky's the limit with your color palette here. So go ahead and imagine that light coming in. Take a deep breath, let it out with a sigh. Move your shoulders around and get really relaxed. Feel your feet on the floor. Or if you're laying down, just feel the couch or the bed or the floor supporting you. And imagine that color just swirling around. Again, taking out anything you don't want to leave it behind, and really nourishing you. Split that color at your shoulders so it comes down each hand, out through each palm. Remember to breathe. The light now is moving down through your torso, moving into your hips and pelvis area, again, nourishing, carrying out anything you need to release or let go of. Splitting, so the column is now 2, going down each leg, down through your thighs, swirling around your kneecaps, into your calves, swirling around your ankles, flooding your feet, out through your feet into the earth, carrying anything you need to let go of and nourishing you very deeply. And I just want you to run that energy, imagine it going through. For just a few seconds, I'm going to be quiet here for just a few moments. I want you to continue to breathe. And now very gently, 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 I want you to bring yourself back to either the chair you're sitting in or where you're standing, or the couch or the bed or the floor that you're lying on. Open your eyes when you're ready if you had them closed. Wiggle your toes and fingers just a little bit, and welcome back. That is a color calmness exercise. And there's so many I'd love to share with you. That's one of my favorites. I feel calmer. I'm going to be very bossy pants and assume that you may be feeling a little calmer as well. That is radical self care, tool number 4, that you can start doing immediately to boost your voiceover awesomeness. Number 5 kind of segues from calmness. This is an energy check. And again, we could do an entire class on energy, and maybe we will. I want you to start to be aware of what the energy is like, both in your space where you're recording, and I'm in my beautiful recording space as I'm talking to you. And what is your energy like as a voiceover artiste, as a human, as you enter into your voiceover audition or booking or recording? Now, here's a really wonderful thing about energy. We all have it. And we all also, I believe, have the ability to discern the energy that's going on around us. Here's one example. We've all walked into a room and sensed that something happened there that we weren't privy to. Either we feel a really high vibrational, good, lovely energy, or we feel a less high vibrational, darker, more contracted. Maybe there was a fight or some sort of conflict in the room. We've all felt that. It's a very real thing. Energy of big emotion and big thought that people think over and over again, sort of a group thought, leaves a signature and leaves something behind that we can feel. I feel it very personally when I go into, when the world is open, places of worship. I feel it very often in a church or a temple or a mosque. Even the energy of all of that prayer and focus leaves a signature. So I'm sure you've had your experience. We're going to tap into that to boost your radical self-care as a voiceover artist. So I just want you to notice next time you're in your recording space, what is the energy like in there? What does it feel like? If it had a color, what color would it be? If it had a sound, what would the sound of the energy be? If you want to give it a personality, if it had a name or had a voice, since we're voiceover artists, what kind of voice would it have? And the cool thing about energy is shiftable. The energy in a space and the energy in you. So this exercise is to pay attention to what the energy feels like in your space. And if you want to boost it, there are a lot of ways to do that. I'm going to give you one way right now. So one way to boost the energy in your space is to shift around. This is a little feng shui, which again, we can talk about in more depth. Some of you are big fans of that. Shift around 10 things in the space. You don't have to take them out of the space. You can if you want to, but to move 10 things in the space with the intention of making the energy more fill in the blank. Light, free, open, joyful, clear. And so you move the items with that intention, and that opens the flow of things. Those of you who are a fan of Marie Kondo may know her book exercise, which is when you're going through your books and deciding what you're keeping and what you're not, you gather them together and you tap them to wake them up. The idea is that inanimate objects, when they're in one place for a very long time, they kind of fall asleep. And so when we tap them to wake them up or we move them around, we wake up the energy in the space. So I invite you to try that. That's one of dozens of exercises that I would be very happy to share with you. Now, here's one about your personal energy, because that's really important. In addition to the energy in the space, there's our energy. There's also whatever energy we're using in our voiceover work. But in terms of our human energy, this is a fun exercise. Those of you who are new to this world, just want you to take your hands along with me and bring them close together until you feel some heat. And sometimes you'll need to get very close and sometimes it'll be farther out. But that heat, some would say, is the heat signature or the energy field signature of your human body. And the cool thing is, those of us who believe in this stuff, pointing to myself, believe that your energy field is expandable, meaning when we're experiencing emotions like gratitude, joy, peace, calmness, that expands out the energy field. When we're feeling emotions like fear, anxiety, worry, sadness, that contracts the energy field. The energy field of a human being is contracting and expanding all the time. Once you're conscious of it, as a radically self-cared voiceover artist, you can choose to expand your energy field. And what that does, in theory, and I invite you to practice, is to allow in more of those things we've been talking about, more access to your intuition, more access to really beautiful ideals, more calmness, more groundedness, and more comfort when you're in your voiceover universe. So, there are 5 things you can do today, starting right now, to boost your radical self care as a voiceover artist. Number 1, hydration. Number 2, breathing. Number 3, comfort or ergonomics. Number 4, calmness. Number 5, energy. I am Karen-Eileen Gordon, coachess, goddess, radical self care lover. Very happy to have shared all this with you today. I can't wait to see you again soon.